8 people have been arrested and nearly 80 lakh rupees have been recovered by a special investigative team looking into corruption in the Ram Mandir Trust. And this is a massive thing because for decades, the Ram Mandir in India is not just a symbol of faith and a temple, it's also a political movement, a long drawn out legal battle. It's brought governments into power, it's changed the course of Indian politics. And when the temple was inaugurated in 2024, it became the focus of devotion for lakhs of people across the country who traveled to pay their respects, to worship. And in the box, they dropped cash and gold and silver and valuables and jewelry. And now there is a question about whether the money donated by those believers and devotees was systematically siphoned off and who was behind all of it. That is what we're going to break down in this entire video. There's a lot of information, so we're going to try and break it down into smaller pieces. But before we get started, a reminder to like, share, subscribe, share this video with someone you think will find it useful to understand, and also sign up for our membership where we'll give you one bulletin every day where we tell you everything that's happened in the world in 10 minutes flat without any drama at all. Let's get into the Ram Temple controversy right now. Now, before we understand the alleged theft that has taken place, it's important to also understand how that donation system works. Now, every day, like I said, thousands of people visit the temple. Some donate digitally, but most people prefer traditional offerings. So once they come inside the temple complex, there are handis or large donation boxes in which they drop cash. Alongside cash, sometimes the temple receives jewelry, precious metals, other valuables. According to reports, every day these donation boxes are opened at the end of the day under supervision. The cash is counted, sorted denomination-wise, bundles are prepared, records are generated, and then that money is transported and deposited into the State Bank of India, which handles the trust's bank accounts and operations. It seems fairly straightforward. There are CCTV cameras, there's a process, there are employees who are supposed to be checked, and also the bundles are counted multiple times. Now, these enormous amounts of cash that are being handled right now create opportunities for fraud. And that is why standard, obviously, operating procedures exist. So verification of those countings, CCTV cameras, every stage has to have an audit. But it turns out things are not so simple. The first suspicion came out from a CNN News 18 investigation where it said that within the temple trust itself, officials associated with the Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust reportedly began to notice irregularities in the last week of May. Now, the amount eventually deposited in the bank, they said, did not consistently match what officials expected after the counting process, which means that there was money going missing in transportation. Each donation box, according to that report, contained around 6 or 7 lakh rupees, and officials regularly observed that bundles containing 500 rupee notes repeatedly appeared short. And that pattern, it was not a one or two thing, was a pattern that kept appearing. Now, like I said, CCTV cameras, there's a process in place. But according to this report, this is within the trust. The police are not involved at this point. Within the trust, they noticed that those already involved knew exactly where the cameras were placed and they knew what was in the view of the camera. So these investigators added more cameras to the counting room. Now, they said staff in the room were not informed that the additional cameras were added. And investigators say these hidden cameras captured what has now become the central piece of evidence in this investigation. According to the report, some employees were deliberately blocking the view of the CCTV camera while cash was being counted. Their bodies blocked the camera's line of sight, and another employee removed currency notes from the bundle. Now, this is one modus operandi. There was a second one, a more sophisticated one. There's a report in Money Control that says that investigators uncovered what they suspect to be a more sophisticated, subtle system. Many employees were deliberately adding extra currency notes to each bundle. And then when the bank counted those notes, they were correct, which means that in transit, the notes were being removed and the process was not being independently verified. So there were a lot of issues. The first public allegation came on the 7th of June from Samajwadi Party President Akhilesh Yadav, who put a statement on X on social media suggesting crores of rupees that was being donated to the Ram Temple had gone missing. And he said it was shameful and he asked the judiciary to take suo motu cognizance and questions started to be asked. Now, there's a very interesting individual in this whole controversy you should know about called Champat Rai. Champat Rai is the man at the center of the trust that runs the temple. Now, while addressing media after Akhilesh Yadav made this statement, Champat Rai said the trust regularly conducts internal audits, and he maintained that nothing significant had been detected in their internal audit that's currently underway, and no conclusion had been reached. By the second week of June, the controversy came out even further because there was one employee who had been sacked who came and gave an interview to the press saying that he had noticed problems, that there were in fact issues with the trust, and so the Yogi Adityanath Uttar Pradesh government stepped in. They set up a special investigative team of 3 people. This is a very high-level investigative team. Vijay Vishwas Pant is the divisional commissioner of Lucknow. Kiran S is the inspector general of Lucknow Range, and Neil Ratan, the special secretary of the finance department. So these 3 people were appointed to investigate. No FIR though, which means this is not a criminal investigation. This is a fact-finding mission. The composition, though, I must point out, is of very senior officials because they're taking these, one would assume they're taking the allegations seriously. Their mandate was to investigate the handling of temple donations, to review the accounting process, and identify whether or not money was being siphoned off. Now, this SIT worked at breakneck speed because they submitted their report in less than a couple of weeks. The findings were serious enough for an FIR to be registered, which the SIT recommended. Now, here's the interesting thing. The FIR was not filed by an outsider or by opposition politician. According to a report in the print, it was lodged on the insistence of a trust member called Krishna Mohan, who is a retired forest officer and one of the trustees of the Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth. Now, according to the print, the FIR was registered also after the SIT recommended criminal proceedings. Now, what did the SIT find? Here's another interesting thing. That report has not been made public. There's a visual of the SIT handing over the report to the government of Uttar Pradesh in a sealed envelope. And, we don't know what the contents of that report are, but many news organizations have released source-based information of what is in the report. The New Indian Express says the SIT identified 17 people as accused, and it has named senior office bearers associated with the trust for further investigation. The SIT has also recommended a registration of criminal cases, restructuring of the trust, appointing senior government administrators or IAS officers to oversee the trust as a CEO. One of the problems that they've also noted in that SIT, apparently, according to the New Indian Express report, it said that many people, about 150 sevadars and employees associated with the temple, after the consecration ceremony of 2024 January, suddenly became very, very rich. According to the reports, they have acquired significant assets. They are living dramatically beyond what their salaries would permit. And the report even claims that the investigators suspected few individuals have become millionaires during this period. Apparently, the report also says in one source-based information that employees were not following any of the rules. They were not wearing their uniforms. They were informal people who were not meant to be in the room who were in the room. Bundles were not being counted repeatedly. That there were many parts of that standard operating procedure that was not being followed. In one of those things, according to the New Indian Express, they found that the keys to the donation boxes was with one Ram Shankar Yadav, better known as Tinu. Tinu is also a very important person in this entire thing. And it immediately got the investigators' attention because Tinu is a personal driver of one of the trust members. And that actually raised a massive question as to why he has the keys. So Champat Rai, who I told you about earlier, Champat Rai's driver had the keys to the donation box. And the investigators found that difficult to, find a reason for or justify. FIR was registered. 8 people have been arrested, and I'll quickly take you through who these 8 people are. First of whom is Tinu. Tinu, like I said, is Champat Rai's personal driver. He's not part of the cash counting team, yet he had the keys to the boxes. But he's become, apparently, according to the Times of India, over time, he became one of the temple's most trusted administrators, in spite of the fact that he has entered the system as a personal driver. He supervised multiple operational activities. He's coordinated VIP temple visits. And like I said, he had the keys to literally the keys to the boxes. Subhash Srivastav supervised the actual counting operation. He wasn't employed by a private agency that supplied the counting staff. Instead, he oversaw their work on behalf of the trust. He was a trust employee who was supervising the counting, and every day's counting passed through him. According to investigators, 40 counting agents worked under him. Anukalp Mishra is one of the senior counting agents, and according to Money Control, investigators allege that he was responsible for preparing the donation vouchers and receipts. And police say that he helped recruit other people who were close to him into the counting operation. Love Kush Mishra was his brother in law, also been now arrested. He is allegedly participated in moving the bundles after they were prepared. The police say they recovered 10 lakh rupees from his residence. Avinash Shukla worked in cash reconciliation, which means verifying physical cash with what is documented. Manish Kumar Yadav joined the counting operation 6 months ago. He's related to Tinu, and they're wondering if there's a connection there. Karunesh Pandey generated manual donation receipts, and there's a huge problem with receipts as well, and I'll tell you what that problem is. Ramshankar Mishra worked in donation receipts, and the police say he participated in preparing documentation connected to the fraud. So, how much money has been recovered so far? Remember, Akhilesh Yadav said crores are being missing. Investigators have recovered about 79.85 lakh rupees, so about 80 lakh rupees. Short of 1 crore rupees. Investigators say about 80 lakh rupees has been recovered so far. Following the arrest, all of those 8 people have been sent to judicial custody until the 29th of June. More arrests are possible in the future. But I want to take you back to the man at the center of the eye of the storm, Champath Rai. And we'll figure out for a second who Champath Rai is, because for decades he has been one of the most influential people in the Ram Janmabhoomi entire movement. He's not just a trustee, and we need to figure out who he is. He's 79 years old. And long before becoming associated with Ram Temple, he was a chemistry lecturer. And he fought against the government in the emergency. He was sent to jail in 1980. When he was released from jail, he became a full-time worker of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. For 4 decades, he was one of the VHP's most important organizers. He worked closely with Ashok Singhal, who is a principal face of the Ram Janmabhoomi movement. According to Hindustan Times, lawyers who were fighting the Ram Janmabhoomi case would regularly go to Champath Rai because he knew those land records at the back of his head. He had litigation history. He had historic documents. People called him the Encyclopedia of Ayodhya. In December 1992, he was present when the Babri Masjid was demolished. The CBI named him in their case. 3 decades later, 30 years later, September 2020, the special CBI court acquitted him. And then the government established the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Trust, and they appointed him as General Secretary. This was in 2020. Now, the trust's formal chairperson was Mahant Gopal Das, but he was a very advanced age and he had ill health. And so Champath Rai became the operational sort of informal head of the entire temple project. After all of this information came out, there was some rumors and reports about the fact that Champath Rai has resigned as the General Secretary of the Trust on moral grounds, after which the Vishwa Hindu Parishad came out and clarified that no resignation has taken place. But we now understand for sure that he has in fact resigned. So now that you know the history of who he is and where he's come from, you'll understand why this resignation from him is such an important thing. Now, there are other allegations that have come up outside of all of this, and I want to just quickly take you through other allegations as well. These are not part of the SIT criminal case. According to Dainik Bhaskar, one Dr. Raju Manwani, who has said that representing the Sindhi community, he donated 200 kilos of silver bricks to the trust, and he handed them over to Champath Rai himself in January 2021. According to Dr. Manwani, the trust said that they will test the silver and hand over, the actual receipts after some time. But those receipts have not come. It's been 5 years, he says, and the community never received those receipts. Another donor, according to Dainik Bhaskar, Anita Bharadwaj, said she donated a silver idol to the temple. She said Champath Rai accepted the idol from her, told her that photography is not permitted, but photographs and receipt will be sent to her later. Those receipts did not come. So that is where that connection of receipts are also coming from. Obviously, the political battle has started. It started with Akhilesh Yadav of the Samajwadi Party calling it a Lanka Kand, after which Pawan Khera has made a statement saying that the trust structure needs to be looked at completely. Shiv Sena's Uddhav Thackeray has said the BJP has betrayed Hindu sentiment. Arvind Kejriwal has called it a Dharma Yudh. I also want to point out here, and this is really important, Nripendra Mishra, who used to be the sort of right-hand person to the Prime Minister in the Prime Minister's office, is also on the trust. So there are lots of very important people on this trust right now. And so there are many questions that are coming up at this point. Now, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Yogi Adityanath, has repeatedly made statements that they are investigating the fullest of the matter, and anybody found to do, to be indulging in any wrongdoing will face the full wrath of the law and order system. The pace at which the government set the SIT, did the investigation, has made the arrests, has actually worked in its favor, because it looks like it's taking this very seriously and it's taking action very seriously. Some of the questions that still remain, though, is how much money was stolen altogether, which we don't know. We don't know the details of that SIT, right? We also don't know if any of the senior members of the trust, because none of the trustees have either been questioned or have been accused in any way of whether they had any knowledge of what was going on, if they participated in what was going on. There's no public evidence at all to that, and there's no official timeline that's been established. So we don't know if the siphoning of funds began in January 2024 when the temple was open, or if they have been happening for the last few months. Investigators are examining whether those irregularities started right in January 2024 or it's something that's happening now. Also, the big question that comes up is the CBI has not been called in, the ED has not been called in. The ED really jumps at any investigation where there's any wrongdoing when it comes to financial theft. But in this case, they have not been involved yet, and we don't know to what extent or at what point they will be involved. So this is the full extent of what is happening with that investigation. Stakes are very, very high for the government of Uttar Pradesh, because they have an election coming up in less than 10 months. And Uttar Pradesh, I don't have to tell you, is really important for the country and for the BJP as well. Now, what will happen here is that it strikes at the very heart of BJP's strongest emotional issue. The fact that BJP has actually symbolically achieved this and delivered that promise to the people of India is something that they hold very close to their campaign and to their hearts. This sort of dishonesty will strike at that promise. And the BJP's strongest narrative has been decisive leadership, nationalism, and clean governance. Again, the question will be, if corruption can happen at the Ram Janmabhoomi Mandir, then what else is left, right? The opposition has already zoned in on this and chosen its messaging, like I said, and they've chosen extremely religiously emotive messaging as well. The BJP's response will probably determine the kind of damage that will happen. So, like I said, setting up an SIT that quickly, the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister not denying, acknowledging and promising action and actually showing action, all of these things will actually make a difference in its favor. And like I said, Uttar Pradesh is extremely important. It sends 80 MPs to parliament, and it is, an important state. But it's not just this one, this one issue that will guarantee victory. There are local issues, there are caste equations, there's inflation, there's unemployment, there's governance, there are many, many things. So this will be one thing in many things that will weigh in that election. But nevertheless, it's going to be very high stakes for the government of Uttar Pradesh and for the BJP nationally as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out going forward. So the whole point of this video was to give you the foundation so you can track what's happening from here onwards, and we'll give you that information as and when it happens. But leave me a comment in the comment section on what you think is actually going on here, and if you think that the Yogi Adityanath government moving quickly actually bodes in its favor.